welcome to the NSSF Friends with Benefits. Yes!
If you won the 30 million or the 10, how would you put it to use?
How are you helping these people to also apply this skill?
We'll be right back.
It actually is Friends with Benefits that really caught the public.
Tree planting is not an easy project.
I've always loved to do farming. There was one word that could describe NSSF. What would that word be?
Beneficial.
This is one of the most successful promotions I've been involved in my life. So thank you so much.
Welcome to the first episode of NSSF Friends with Benefits, Season 2. My name is Crystal.
And my name is Guy Tano. Now, the Friends with Benefits show is about success stories. Stories that inspire. Stories that motivate. Not only for those who have been saving, but also for those who are yet to begin a pensions savings plan with NSSF.
And at its very core, this show is about financial literacy, valuable lessons that we can all borrow a leaf or two from. Now, you might be wondering what's new about this season. I can start with Gaetano, see the new shoes, the new suit, maybe even a few strands on your head.
Yes, I borrowed that hair from your weave. You shall be fine.
Happy to help, happy to help.
Now, these 16 contestants are all going to be vying for 55 million shillings. That's correct. Now, the winner walks away with 30 million shillings. That's a lot of money. And the first runner-up goes home with 15 million shillings. And the second runner-up doesn't leave without anything. They go home with a cool 10 million shillings.
Now, we will get to meet all the 16 contestants who have made financially sound investments as they face off our panel of judges. But what's important is they are relying on your votes to take them to the top 8 contestants down to the final 5, from whom our winners will be announced.
That's correct. We shall let you know exactly how the voting procedure is done in a short while. But for now, let's get into those panel of judges that you just mentioned. We have Mr. Stevens Mwanje, Chief Finance Officer, of course, for NSSF. How are you doing today?
Very well, Gaetano.
Pleasure to have you over here. Is it too late to say Happy New Year?
It's never too late.
Never
Happy
too
New Year
late.
too.
It's never too late. Chief Finance, I like that chief part. You know, you can always...
Come, we can have a conversation.
We would also like to welcome back Mabel Chigundu, a human resource specialist, to the show.
Thank you, Crystal.
It's good to
Happy
see you
to be
again. Last season, you had some pretty tough questions for some of our contestants. Are we expecting the same from you this time around?
Oh, yes, and much more.
Much more.
Yes.
All right, next to Mabel, we do have returning on the panel of judges, Mr. Paul Busharizi, public editor for New Vision. You're looking a little bit more grayer, Paul. What happened?
Well, unlike you, some of us grew up.
Wow.
Ooh, shots fired, shots fired. It's going to be very interesting.
And we also have Barbara Arimi, Head of Marketing and Communications, NSSF. Welcome back, Barbara.
Thank you, Crystal.
Nice to see you looking lovely as always.
Thank you.
What are your expectations this time?
I can summarize them in 3 words. 1, inspiration. 2, impact. And 3, sustainability. That is what I expect from the contestant stories.
Okay, okay. Well, I'm excited. Are you excited?
I'm more than excited. And now, without much further ado, I think it's time for us to actually kick off the show and find out about our very first contestant. He hails not very far from here, just across in Jinja, and that is Mr. Nabende Wamoto. Let's find out more about him and his story on the screen.
One of my sons, Noah, was going to the roadside just outside their school. Someone coming from the quarter guard rammed into my son, swept him with the vehicle to the drainage, and 3/4 of my son's body was now down into the trench. So the vehicle sat on the remaining quarter, and my only hope was that the generals who had worked with me had got the story, and of course they wanted to make a fundraising exercise. They asked me whether I had money, and my answer was very short. I have my benefit at NSSF. The fundraising was meant to run only if I confirmed that I also had some money in my house. So my NSSF benefit was to spark off the fundraising. My name is Nabende Wamoto Simon Peter. I got my NSSF age benefit, and this is my NSSF story. My package from NSSF was paid to continue the process of treating my son. This is my son's sick bed. After Mulago Hospital, we had to transfer almost the same setting to here, because he would not move from one place to another. He would do long call at the same place, but this condition was helped by money from friends and from NSSF.
I had my disability in 2006, just 1 hour after my last paper of Senior 6. But the long and short of it is that I was able to go through education. I graduated. So being able to form an association called Spinal Injuries Association, we meet and share ideas. And if I had not gone to school, cutters of NSSF, the savings that my father had put, and acquired the education and expanded on the level of knowledge, I wouldn't have had anything to share for those who are voiceless.
So my son is a star in my family. If it wasn't for National Social Security Fund, being Ugandan savings body, I wouldn't have been able to make money out of that fundraising.
Wow, quite a story. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me in welcoming onto the stage over here, Mr. Nabende Wamoto. Well, Mr. Wamoto, yours is a very interesting and sad story at the same time.
Yes.
It must have broken your heart seeing your son knocked down and having to go through what he went through.
Yes, somehow, but I got strong because my wife is also disabled. She is a victim of polio. So I have another disabled person there.
Well, that makes you very strong indeed to be able to look after people who have been disabled in such a way. I'm going to hand you over to our judges, our 4 panels of judges over here.
Yes.
And they have some very interesting questions they'd like to pose for you, okay?
Yes.
Barbara, it's over to you.
Okay, thank you so much, Gaetano. Mr. Nabende, I'd like to know, at what point did you think of your NSSF savings as the alternative to solving the financial gap and also perhaps later on to address the education needs?
Immediately after the accident,
Yes.
the late General Mayombo said he was going to start a fundraising. He called it Save Noah campaign, but he asked me whether I had some money on my account. That is when I told him, I don't have money, but I have my NSSF benefit. I can access it. That was 2007. I hope I've answered now.
Yes, you have answered the question. Thank you.
I see, Mabel, perhaps you have a question for our contestant.
When they were cutting off your money, your benefits, how did you feel at that time?
I didn't feel pain. First of all, I had come to know that I raise 5% and my employer raises double that. So I benefit. Instead, if I don't pay, I save an employer. So I cheat myself 5% and then cheat myself 10%, which is lying with the employer. So there was no pain. Actually, I was a happy man.
Okay. Mr. Nabende, quite a touching story, quite moving. But tell us a little bit more about what exactly did you do with the money? Because you've gone on to tell us your son continued with his education, etc., etc.
This money helped me to have my son treated for 1 whole year. Because Mulago discharged him after 2 months. We had to keep him for another year in a very delicate situation. So that money was the one making me move him up and down. My money later on took them to the university. Secondly, my disabled son was the first graduate in my parish at home.
Oh.
Mr. Paul Busharizi, maybe perhaps you have a final question for our contestant.
Do you have a renewed appreciation for saving, putting money aside every so often in your daily life today?
The new arrangement of NSSF came recently, voluntary registration. And this arrangement came when I had retired. If I'm appointed again today, I will consider to register voluntarily and I keep my money with NSSF.
Mr. Wamoto, you used your networks to overcome a major obstacle, of course. Kindly, briefly elaborate to me on the power of networking.
Social networking in security agencies is natural. It's just simple. Once one commander knows, the whole force, all of the forces in the country are aware. That is the power of networking. Cheap and easy. No money involved.
No money involved. All right.
Vote for me. Dial *254#, select friends with benefits, choose Nabende Wamoto. Thank you very much.
We're going to go for a very short break. When we come back, it's more right here on Friends with...
Nzijukira ebiseera ebyo abawagizi ekitiibwa nali muzira mu kisaawe ne mbulamu obwa bulijjo nga nsobola okwetuusaako buli kye njagala. Naye olunaku lumu byonna ne biggwaawo. Singa nategekera obukadde bwange nandibadde mu bulamu obweyagaza kati.
Every year, millions of Ugandans retire into poverty. To reduce that number, NSSF has introduced voluntary membership, which allows more Ugandans to save with NSSF and makes contributing easier by letting you pay through mobile money. It is available to individuals who run companies that employ less than 5 employees, as well as those who used to save with the fund and are now gainfully self-employed but are below the age of 60. Sign up today by visiting your nearest NSSF branch.
NSSF, a better life.